It is finally here. Terraria's new update, 1.4.5, Bigger and Bolder. With this update adds a whole bunch of things, but for this video, we'll be diving specifically into whips. From the previous amount of whips being 9, it is now doubled, totaling 18. There is even one dropped by the final boss Lunar. So, I'll be taking on the challenge of beating Terraria using whips only in today's video. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Now, let's get things started. Alright, to kick things off, I of course, like most people would do, chopped down some trees for wood. As I was doing so, the guide killed a nearby slime, which dropped gel. I was curious to see if there were new items to be made, so I talked to the guide to see what I can make, and there actually was. The slime whip, which cost 50 gel to make, however, it required the solidifier from the king slime. Now, to mention the rules for this challenge, I was not able to kill any bosses until I acquired a whip, so I decided to collect enough entries into the bestiary to enable the zoologist to spawn so that I could buy the leather whip. But right when I was about to leave, I stumbled upon my first enemy from the update, a cloud slime, and when killed, dropped which most of you guys can already guess, cloud blocks. I chose the left side of the world to explore first, and stumbled upon a few chests up on the surface, which just had some basic necessities like wood, bars, potions, and an accessory. Nothing too special. I then made my way down into the jungle to search for more items and life crystals to beef up my character while filling out the bestiary. I found the magic mirror, my first life crystal, enough rubies for both the ruby hook and a slime crown to summon the king slime, and a menacing nature's gift. The reduced mana cost didn't affect me, but I did gain 4% increased damage, and a short bit later, I found the cloud in a bottle and the suspicious looking eye. I then followed a ferry that led me to some diamonds and a chest that had the mace. Now with this weapon, killing enemies to collect the entries into the bestiary became a lot easier. While still in the mushroom biome, I obtained the band of regeneration and enough life crystals to reach 200 health. At that point, I figured it was time to head up due to my full inventory, so I teleported back up onto the surface, flattened the surrounding area to build myself a house to store my items away. Once the structure of the house was built, I crafted the diamond hook, gold pickaxe, and some silver armor to increase my defense. Looking at my defense, it now actually tells you how much damage you reduce depending on the amount of defense you have. In this case, 11 defense equaled to 9 damage reduction. Although I did not have enough entries just yet for the zoologist to spawn, I built some NPC houses anyways, so when I do reach the requirement, she can just move right in. I only had enough materials to build 2 houses unfortunately, so I continued finding and killing unique enemies, and at that time, I accumulated 35 entries total. Next, I explored the right side, and inside a chest was a cat chime. I had absolutely no idea what this did, or if it even did anything at all, but you guys will find out very soon. Just a bit deeper down, I found climbing claws, another life crystal, and after returning back up, I saw a tiny pool of water. Now this meant that there is most likely a sky island right above, so I took the time to use some rope and build up, and I was right. But it wasn't one with a chest. Oh, and about that cat chime, after getting hit by a harpy, I noticed my default sound from taking damage changed to a cat version. I made it to the snow biome next and became captivated by how beautiful the sky looked now. The Aurora Borealis, otherwise known as the Northern Lights, is now in Terraria, and I just had to sit there for a little while to admire it. I kept walking to the right and arrived at the dungeon, but the more I kept going, I realized that the entire dungeon had changed. It was now a giant tower with windows and platforms you could stand on. At first, I thought it was going to be a good thing because it meant I didn't need to build an arena from scratch, but then I thought about the bad things, how this structure limits the area to fight the boss in. I know I could easily build a separate arena outside of it, but I planned not to. I finally reached the ocean, so I teleported back home and went to the jungle, finding another new item, the Fairy Choker, which acts just like the cat chime, but of course changes the damage taken sound to a fairy. Heading down a different pathway down the jungle, I found shoe spikes, 3 life crystals that brought me to 320 health, Hermes boots, and a new boulder that exploded into lava when I mined it. If one of those dropped onto me, I 100% would have been a goner. About 10 minutes later, I stumbled upon the Shimmer Pool, so if there were items that I didn't want, let's say the Warrior's Emblem as an example, then I can just throw it in and turn it into the Summoner Emblem to improve my whip's damage. When I finally reached 58 entries, I went back up, bought the Lifeform Analyzer from the Traveling Merchant, and built some more NPC houses. While I waited for the Zoologist to spawn, I crafted the Silver Helmet to complete my armor set, bringing me to 15 defense, reducing damage by 12. And due to my curiosity, I showed the guide a Crimson bar to see what I could craft, and it showed the Vasculash, a whip that I'll be getting my hands on later. I continued waiting, but I got a message saying an evil presence is watching me. This meant one thing and one thing only. The Eye of Cthulhu was about to spawn, but because I still had no whips, I couldn't take it down, so when it spawns, I teleported away to despawn it. A wasted opportunity. I was still waiting for night to pass, but I caught something in my eye. A whip that I could have made a very long time ago, probably within the first 10 minutes of playing. The Cob Whip, which only required some cobwebs and wood to make. I felt so dumb, but nonetheless, I still made it. I started attacking with it, and the first thing I noticed was that the attacking animation was now an alternating pattern, swinging from top to bottom and bottom to up. When I attacked an enemy, it spawned a spider that attaches onto enemies, dealing damage. The leather whip from the zoologist still had more damage compared to the cob whip, so I was still going to get it. To speed up time, I built a bed and slept until morning arrived. Shortly after, the zoologist spawned, and so I bought it. This whip had 14 damage, 5 more than the cob whip, faster attack speed, and further reach. It was almost time to take on the first boss, which was the King Slime, but before that, I wanted accessories that would help me maneuver better, and the perfect accessories for that would be the shiny red balloon and the lucky horseshoe. So I drank a gravitation potion, grabbed the accessories from Sky Islands, built an arena back home, and then summoned the boss. The King Slime spawns out slimes when damaged, and letting them accumulate would just overwhelm me, so during the fight when the slimes came out, I would try to kill them first before attacking the boss again. Okay, it's teleporting. Let's get rid of this guy. Keep attacking the boss. Oh god. Yeah, this is gonna take quite some time. I'm not dealing a lot of damage. We're almost there. Less than 200 health now. Just a few more hits. And... oh, we're so close. Come on. Done. After defeating the King Slime, I opened the treasure bag and got the solidifier, meaning that I could now craft the slime whip. The whip had 12 damage and had the ability to ignite enemies. However, this only happened if I attacked them with the very end of my whip. If enemies were hit using the whip's shaft, then it would not occur. Coming up next, the Eye of Cthulhu, and I was just about to summon it, but thankfully I did not, because it turned into day. So I waited until the next night to take it on. Here we go, Eye of Cthulhu time. This might take even longer than the King Slime, especially when it hits second phase, because it's just going to be dashing everywhere. So I think I'll be missing my attacks a lot. There it goes, second phase. Get rid of all the servants. It's not dashing quite yet, which is good. Okay, that's all the servants. Now let's focus on the boss. Wow, it's still not dashing. Okay. Maybe now? Oh, yep, there we go. Okay, I'm getting some hits in. Not a lot, though. Oh my god, did I just miss all of that? Come on. I can't hit it. Oh my god. Come on, please. Aim better. It's too fast. Okay. Hits, hits, hits. Yes. After having defeated the boss and received some Crimtane ores, I crafted the Vasculash. This whip had 19 damage and a further reach compared to the leather whip. However, I was expecting some kind of special effect for this weapon, but to my surprise, there wasn't. Right after, I felt no need to wait to take on the next boss, so I made my way into the Crimson, built an arena, and broke the hearts to summon the Brain of Cthulhu. As I was damaging the creepers, I noticed that my damage spread unevenly, depending on how many I hit in one swing. If I damaged a single one, it would be dealt the full damage, but attacking multiple dealt a single point of damage to some. Once the boss turned to its second phase, it turned out to be pretty easy to tell which one was the real one. When I attacked an enemy with a whip, a mark appeared which tells that they are tagged. So even though the boss started splitting, the mark still was shown on the real one. About 100 health left. And done. Okay, not too shabby. I returned back home and now had more Crimtane bars and tissue samples to craft the full set of Crimson armor, but making the armor depleted my supply of Crimtane bars, so I took down the Eye of Cthulhu once again on the next night for some more. As I was building some more NPC houses, a meteorite had fallen. When I found it, I began mining, but received another message saying that the Goblin Army was approaching, which honestly was a good thing, since I'd be able to get the Goblin Tinkerer into the world and purchase the Tinkerer's Workshop to combine my accessories together. So after mining up the entire meteorite, I used them to create the Star Crash. This had 19 damage, just like the Vasculash, but it had a special effect which spawns meteorites on top of enemies that are hit by summons. Right when I saw the words hit by summons, I became depressed, since I wouldn't be able to witness how it would look like. But my depression didn't last very long, because once I actually crafted it, it received the legendary modifier on it. So I used my new whip to defeat the Goblin Army. Once defeated, I mined towards hell to search for the Goblin Tinkerer, and while doing that, I found the last life crystal for max health. It took a bit of time to find him, but when I did, I bought Rocky Boots, the workshop, and began combining my accessories together, making the blue horseshoe balloon and Spectre Boots. With the new and improved accessories, I was now ready to take on Skeletron, so on the next night, I arrived at the dungeon. I figured I could make my life a little bit easier if I placed down some extra platforms inside. Afterwards, I was good to go, so I talked to the old man to summon the boss. When I was fighting the boss, I won't lie, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to take it down in time because the amount of damage I was dealing didn't seem a lot. It just took me so long to take down even the hands, but once the hands were done, I got into the groove, and midway through, I actually found a little exploit using the new and updated dungeon. When Skeletron began shooting skulls out, I went to the lower tunnel of the dungeon, and doing that completely stopped its projectiles, so all I had to worry about was the spinning head attack. I kept repeating this, thinking that I would be able to take it down, but daytime arrived, which caused the boss to one-shot me. But now that I knew the way to maximize my damage, I used the exploit as soon as I took down its hands. Okay, this time I should be able to do it. And actually last time I didn't have the entire night to fight the boss. I think a quarter of the night had already gone through. There we go, Skeletron down. Once Skeletron had been defeated, I ventured down the dungeon and found the Cobalt Shield, Shadow Key, and the Ram Rune. This granted me the ability to slam into the ground, dealing damage to nearby enemies, and doing this ability at a greater height dealt even more damage, turning the blue particles into red. While in the dungeon, I saw a shiny rainbow object in the dark, and I was trying to get to it so badly, but no matter what I did, it was no use. So I had to come back to this at a later time. Before leaving the dungeon, I killed the enemies there to collect bones for another whip, the Spinal Tap. This had 31 damage and dealt more damage to multiple enemies compared to any other whips I've had previously, plus had a longer range of attack than the Star Crash. It was soon time to take on the Wall of Flesh, therefore I continued mining down towards hell. Once I reached the deepest depths of the world, I mined some hellstone, and by some I meant 375. Back at home, I crafted the molten pickaxe and thought about crafting the molten armor, but it would be more so for the defense rather than the other stats, since they wouldn't benefit me at all, because I dealt summon damage and not melee. But I chose not to, as I preferred the damage increase and life regen that the Crimson armor gave. Back down in hell, I killed a voodoo demon for the guide voodoo doll, and then dropped it into lava to summon the boss. And right away, I took a bunch of damage, which left me thinking that I wouldn't be able to defeat it this time. But I didn't lose complete hope. I couldn't really get close to attack the boss directly anymore, so I swapped in my bone glove to get some ranged hits in. And that really made a difference, although that slight relief didn't last very long as I saw a building coming up. I tried dashing towards it with the Shield of Cthulhu to break open a hole, but it caused me to get rebounded on the Hungries and into the boss. There weren't any more houses available for a new guide to move in, so I had to build some more. While I waited for the guide to respawn, I wanted to guarantee the kill on the Wall of Flesh, so I took down some of the building's walls to make sure I had enough room to work with, and after, mined some obsidian, killed the brain once again for more materials to make obsidian armor, which increased my summon damage, whip range, and speed. This armor made it so I'd be able to attack the boss, or any enemies really, at a much safer distance. I killed another voodoo demon for its doll, and threw it in to begin round 2. Right off the bat, it felt way better as I cleared out most of the Hungries within a short amount of time, and could attack 2 parts of the boss at the same time. Oh hell yes, this is way better. Look at that, most of the Hungries are gone now. Oh, and I just love when all the parts clump in like that, so I can hit multiple at the same time. Looks like I'll be able to beat it this time. Oh shoot! No, don't choke now, come on! Oh, that was so bad. It's okay, let's recover. Kill it! Come on! Yes! Oh, that was way too close. After defeating the wall, I opened the treasure bag and received the Breaker Blade and Ranger Emblem, both items being completely useless to me. However, I remembered that I had found the Shimmer Pool from earlier, so I returned and threw in the Breaker Blade, thinking it would change to the Firecracker, which would be the next whip I would obtain. But it did not, so I just tossed in the emblem until it turned into the Summoner Emblem. Now that I was in hard mode, I went back to the Crimson to break some Crimson Altars to spawn in the hard mode ores. And after mining some palladium and orichalcum, I saw an egg-shaped object underground. It was a huge dragon egg, and when I opened it, it became Chillet Ignis. This was a mount that increased my damage while mounted and was able to perform a rocket slam by double tapping a direction. I finished mining up titanium and crafted some titanium armor that brought my defense up to 63, reducing damage by 48. With all that being done, I attempted to get my hand on the firecracker again, so I killed the wall of flesh, but like last time, I couldn't get it. I wasn't going to give up, so for the third time, I killed the boss again, and luckily this time, I was able to get the whip. The weapon had 46 damage and a special effect, but it only triggered by summons, so it was just like any other regular whip. The bosses up next were the mechanical bosses, so I went back down to hell and grabbed some souls of night and light, but before that a mimic died and dropped the philosopher's stone, and I realized I haven't really tested out the rocket slam against enemies. So I tried it out, and well, it didn't do much damage. Once I collected enough souls of night and light, I crafted the mech summons, and after, headed up onto a sky island for souls of flight. One of the harpies dropped another mechanical eye, so if I ever failed the first attempt, I would have a second chance. I stayed up there until I got a giant harpy feather for harpy wings. With all that being done, it was now time to take on the mech bosses, so I summoned the destroyer first. And I saw that I was dealing peanut damage to this thing. I looked up to the sky after fighting for a bit and saw that it was already halfway through the night, and the boss still had over 75% of its health. Of course, I failed. I thought I'd have an easier time against the twins, and I did, but it still wasn't enough. I lost out on a bunch of damage since I couldn't hit the boss until it dashed towards me. Something needed to change, otherwise I would be stuck fighting these bosses for a very long time. And that's when I saw that it started to rain, which caused something in my brain to click. Rain meant that there would be other extreme weather conditions in other biomes, like a sandstorm in the sand biome. But I made my way to the snow biome and saw that there was a blizzard. There's only one monster that appeared when there's a blizzard, and that is the ice golem. Killing it dropped a frost core, which I later would turn into another whip. But another ice golem appeared, and I just wanted to kill it for fun. However, Deerclops suddenly showed up, and I got a little worried because I thought it would mess me up, but it did literally 1 damage. So I killed them both, no problem. An ice feather dropped from the golem and I turned it into frozen wings. But I did some research after and found out that it had the same flight time as harpy wings. But hey, I would say it's more aesthetically pleasing. Now for the next whip, the cool whip, which required 8 souls of light and night. I now had the frost core, so I collected the souls and crafted the weapon. That's not the only thing I crafted. I also made the orichalcum armor. I know it's a downgrade in terms of defense compared to titanium, but it's more so for the set bonus. I think the set bonus for the titanium armor is just not useful, especially for fighting bosses, because there's rarely a time where I want to be so close to them to use the shards for damage. Most of the time, it'd just be better to attack from a safer distance, but for the orichalcum set bonus, whenever I attack now, it would spawn flower petals that pierce enemies, and the pierce is actually infinite. So this paired up with the cool whip against the destroyer would be perfect. I slept until the next night and summoned the destroyer. Attacking with the whip summoned a snowflake that ran across the entire body of the boss, dealing some insane damage, plus the petals too. Such a massive improvement from before. It wasn't even halfway through the night yet, and the boss's health was already less than 50%. After defeating the destroyer, I obtained some hollowed bars, which I used to craft the Durendal. This had 69 damage, and attacking with this increased my attack speed. It also had enough range to reach the twins who I fought next. Oh yes, this whip can actually reach the boss. I was a little worried that it wouldn't. Phasmatism is now in second phase, and it's only a quarter way through the night, so I have plenty of time. I think I should be good, even though I can't really attack the boss when it spews out the cursed flames. Okay, finally, that is one down. Just retinate it now. Alright, twins down. After the twins were defeated, I was just about to summon Skeletron Prime, but a solar eclipse appeared, and I was not gonna fight a boss while there is an eclipse because of all the monsters spawning around. Once it ended, I summoned the last mechanical boss. There we go, Skeletron Prime time. Honestly, I think this might be the easier boss compared to the other two mechanical bosses. As long as I don't get hit by the spinning head attack, then we're good. The boss is almost done, and it looks like I wasn't able to kill any of its arms. Now I had all 3 souls from the bosses, so I used them to create the pickaxe axe, the full set of hollowed armor, and then reforged the Durandal until it became legendary. Now it was time to take on the next boss, Plantera. So I went back down the jungle, picked up some life roots to increase my health by a bit more, built the arena, and began the fight. Right away I knew I built the arena way too small because the spiky balls were bouncing high enough to reach me. And when it turned to its second phase, I barely had any room to maneuver around it, so I ended up failing. I found another Plantera bulb, but it was further away from the arena. But because I wasn't going to build an entirely separate arena, I decided to make a pathway leading to the original. I also cleared out some more blocks for a bigger area to work with. Afterwards, I managed to collect 3 turtle shells, which I used to make the full turtle armor. This armor will allow me to tank more hits. I returned back, broke the bulb, and led it back to the arena for round 2, and it was a lot better this time. There we go, second phase. Yeah, I have way more room now. I'm still taking a bit of damage, but not nearly as much as before. After defeating Plantera, I opened the treasure bag and hoped to get the new whip. But as unlucky as I am, it wasn't in it. There weren't any other Plantera bulbs around, so I postponed the new whip and instead went back to the dungeon to grab the next best thing, the Morning Star, and accessories for the Master Ninja gear. But I remembered about the shiny rainbow object in there, and with a more powerful pickaxe, I could reach it. I mined it, and it started bouncing like crazy at extreme speed, dealing damage to nearby enemies. It lasted for a solid minute. I got the tabby, black belt, and finally the Morning Star. It had 173 damage, but attacked very slow. The damage did make up for the lack of attack speed. I teleported back home, combined the accessories to make the Master Ninja gear that replaced my Shield of Cthulhu, and then took on Golem as my next boss. The first phase was pretty simple as I just had to keep dashing around left and right to dodge the attack. And even for its second phase, same thing. Just kept dashing left and right. I didn't have to worry about Golem's body since I built the platform at just the right height. Back home, I converted my turtle armor into beetle armor for even more defense, 100 total, reducing damage by 75, and then went back to the dungeon to take on the Lunar Cultist. I was fighting it normally until I remembered my fight against Skeletron, which I applied the same method against this boss. I hugged the very top corner of the dungeon, which prevented some of the boss's attacks from going through the blocks above me. And with the beetle armor, campfire, heart lantern, and potions, I was regaining all of my health back. But that all ended when I accidentally hit the clone which spawned the Phantasm Dragon. That thing forced me to move away from the corner, which ultimately caused my death. The next time, I placed down some honey for even more life regen, and made sure I hit the correct one so that the same thing doesn't happen again. Once the Lunatic Cultist had been taken down, I destroyed the Stardust Pillar first, and used its fragments to create the Constellation. This whip had 144 damage, and could scatter friendly stars that homes in onto enemies. There was another whip I wanted to check out, and it was dropped by Duke Fishron, so I placed down some platforms and fought against the boss. I don't know if it was just me, but I noticed that the boss was slightly faster compared to the previous version of the game. If you guys think so too, let me know. After killing the boss, I opened the treasure bag, but didn't receive the new whip. So I tried again, but nothing. I attempted 2 more times, but still did not get it. I gave up for now and proceeded to destroy the Solar, Vortex, and Nebula Pillar to finally be able to fight against Moonlord. The fight was easier than I thought it was going to be, and it was probably due to my armor, potions, and accessories that allowed me to dodge attacks at times. The whip's homing projectiles was also a huge game changer. So far so good. I'm maintaining my health. I also put a pool of honey right next to my house, so whenever I teleport back home, I sprint and I get a little touch of it to apply the honey buff on me. Teleport! Oh, wait, what? I thought I switched over to my recall potions. I guess I was still doing like an attack. Okay, all 3 parts of the boss are pretty low, so now I'm just gonna kill them all in one go. Dodge the laser. Okay, that's 1 down. Teleport again. Damn, I couldn't kill that one in time. There we go. And now just the core. About 5,000 more health. We're almost there. And done. Moonlord has been defeated. Moonlord had finally been defeated, and supposedly there was a whip that drops from this boss. But I've just been so unlucky with getting these new weapons to the point where I knew I wasn't going to get it on the first try. And I was right. I wanted to get the other 2 whips first before Moonlord's, so I took down Duke Fishron literally 5 more times. On the 5th attempt, I finally got it. The electric eel, which had 204 damage, the highest damage whip I've had seen, and it could create a chain electric attack if there were nearby enemies. So the perfect boss to test it out on was Plantera. And oh boy, the vines, when it was in second phase, got cleared out so fast. Once the boss was finished, I opened the treasure bag, hoping that this time would be the last. But I was so wrong. I spent the next 30 minutes or so locating new bulbs to kill Plantera, but none of them dropped the whip. So I got quite fed up with it and decided to just get Moonlord's whip first. Luckily, all it took was the second try to get it. The possession didn't have nearly as much damage as the electric eel, but the attacks of this whip just blew my mind. Multiple whips lashed out at very high speeds, so I used this whip to take down Plantera not 1, not 2, but 9 more times. I was so close to ripping my hair out if it became 10. But now that I had this weapon, I looked at the description and saw that the special effect could only be triggered by summons. So yeah, all that for what? A somewhat high damaged regular whip. And that is it for the video. I pretty much explored and used every single weapon that was added in the new update, except for one, which would be the corruption whip. But if I had to guess, there probably isn't any special effect with that one, judging from the lack of one from the Crimson Whip. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think of the new update, plus the new whips, and of course subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!